It says it's live.
Says it's live already. So it could be live already. Don't say anything bad, Kirsty.
Hi everyone. It's saying it's streaming live on Facebook.
Yeah, so I think we are live now, which is amazing. So we don't sit here for a minute as I normally do. So yes, welcome to Kirsty Carden. Kirsty is the cover coach for, as you will all have seen, the January edition. And I spent a fabulous day with Kirsty and lots of other great ladies at her mastermind earlier this month. And that was really great. So thank you for that. And I've been really looking forward to talking to Kirsty because we're going to talk breakthroughs today. Because we all want one of those. We all want a breakthrough in any sort of area, but we're going to talk specifically about business breakthroughs. First of all, I'm going to just introduce Kirsty, and if I miss anything out, then I'm sure she can correct me. So Kirsty is an NLP master practitioner, mindset and business coach for female entrepreneurs. And she works with women to help them confidently create and grow successful online businesses through becoming visible. And that is what we all want. We want to be visible and we want successful businesses as coaches or whatever we're doing. So welcome, Kirsty. Thanks for coming into the group today.
Thank you for having me today. And thanks for having me as a cover coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. Have you got used to it yet? Have you got used to seeing yourself?
It's just like normal now. Yeah.
That's me on the cover.
Yeah. No,
so
great.
It's gathered a lot of interest. Great article as well. And you know, really this year, 2020, at the beginning of the year when it launched, it's all like we were just talking about January goals. Yeah. And, you know, people have got different views around that, whether they feel pressured in January or excited in January. And, you know, we've got all year, so it's fine. So we can have a breakthrough at any time. So can you tell us what like a breakthrough really is? Let's talk about that first of all, because it's a little bit of coaching language, isn't it? So let's just
it is. Yeah. And like kind of put in the article, it's really a breakthrough. It's again, you know, language is kind of constructed by us, isn't it? So it's what we see as a breakthrough. So, you know, it can be interpreted differently, but it's really about breaking through your own limitations. So achieving something that you've never achieved before. So it's like having that glass ceiling of like, I've only made this amount of money in my business, or this has been the most clients I've ever worked with at one time, or I've never spoke on stage, you know. So it's normally like when you've done something you haven't done before and suddenly more becomes accessible to you. And it normally is, you know, related to a feeling in the body. So sometimes if you have a breakthrough, if you feel that you can physically feel a shift in your body, like when you do something. So it can be something that might have felt impossible, or something you just never done. And then you create that shift and then you open up more possibilities. So and in essence, it's breaking through a barrier that you might have had.
And you know, it's a very sort of, you know, it's a real action word, isn't it? It's a power word. It's like literally breaking through. And you think, talk about smashing that glass ceiling. And of course, sometimes, you know, we do say things like, you know, I can just feel it. I can feel it coming, you know, and those are these sort of changes. And we do go through stages in our business as well, right from the beginning all the way up and then unlimited, really. And there is no like fast speed trajectory. I think these stages and these breakthrough elements are really, really important, and I see a lot of people who want to do it fast. So I'm going to ask you, even though I, you know, guess you might say, can you do all these breakthroughs fast, or how does it work in terms of mindset as well, Kirsty?
Again, everyone's different, right? So we've got we all start at a different place. And I think sometimes, like you say, especially with business online, we look at other people's show reel and what they're projecting, and it looks like they're achieving this and this and that, and they're doing all these wonderful things, but they're only showing what they want to show. And also they could have started in a very different place to you, right?
With different resources, everything.
And I know like from like myself and people I see, you know, someone who, you know, and I've got a friend and I know someone who's done really, really well, but her parents were both entrepreneurs. She had a very entrepreneurial mindset. She started her business and did really well and progressed very quickly, but she kind of had the support systems, all the team. It was all kind of there. So she was able to do it. But if you imagine it's a race, she kind of started ahead because she'd already had that kind of mindset and that belief because it was shown to her from a very young age. Whereas me, I'm complete opposite. I had never been around any entrepreneur, like ever. Like my parents were very working class, completely and utterly different. So then, you know, I start off at a different place. So we've got to be aware of where we're at, and our breakthrough is very personal to us. you know, and not kind of look at anyone else, because, and then when it comes to, like you say, can you have a lot? I think sometimes I personally go through stages where I'll have maybe a few months or something where loads of things are happening and all of that, and it's like a season, right? Just like we have seasons of, you know, like, you know, we sow the seeds and then we reap them. They don't happen at the same time, you know. So there can be a season, just say right now, beginning of the year, where all these things are happening, and it becomes like a spiral thing. Yeah, you know. And but then you may have the next season where then you're kind of, you know, pulling back a little bit and kind of enjoying what you've achieved and what you've done, and it's becoming the new normal. And then you do it again, you know. It's quite rare to be breakthrough constantly, because you kind of burn yourself out, you know.
Yeah, you will. And you hear about that a lot. And of course, there's, you know, adjustment is really, really powerful, you know, adjusting and improving and getting into that new, but I suppose it's a comfort zone thing as well, isn't it? If you jump out of it too fast, too far ahead, you're going to jump straight back in at some point, and so then you're missing your kind of growth. So
it's normalizing it as well, because if you think about it, we can all have like a big breakthrough. We can all do like one amazing speaking gig or one amazing month, but it's actually maintaining that so it can then go to the next level. You know, you know, if you're just constantly trying to do different things, and you're not going to actually create any maintenance structures around it, it's not going to become normalized. It's not going to, you're going to have the habits around it. So it is about then normalizing that, so that
the habits is key there, isn't it?
It
the
is,
habits
and
we talked about that on the mastermind day a lot, because it's practice, isn't it? It's like actually being it and knowing that, you know, not just the systems that you need in place for these kind of things, but also your mindset work and I mean, incremental things. This is what I always talk about. I love the compound effect, and I like to do things, especially the things I find hard. I will do them small to start with, and just try and get consistent with that smallness, if that makes sense. So like things like organization for me, you know, super acute diary planning for me, I've always been like, it's not my thing. So this year I have been literally really, really, really tight on it. I've used all my colours, I've used all my blocking, I've done everything that I perhaps wouldn't do so well before, and I've stuck to it, and it's really making a difference. Of course it will. But if I'd have gone full on with the whole thing and all the online systems and that for my calendar, I would have got confused, and I probably would have dropped it. And I think this is the thing that's really important. So setting the right breakthrough, I guess, is what you're saying, you know, reframe where you're at and know what you need at your level. And so now we know that what a breakthrough is, like, it's what's important around it. I mean, there's a few things in the article, but it's good to hear it like from you live. What do we need next? So we know what it is. What do we need to muster up?
So I suppose when we know what it is that we want, when we've got that clarity, it is that commitment, right? I think that's what the first thing I put values in there, but like commitment. So commitment, like actually being able to commit to what it is that you're going to do, and you've got to be all in. Like, this is the problem. If like you kind of mention it there with like, if you were to do your diary organization and do this and this and that, it's too much. And it's, again, our mind needs clear focus. When we can actually give it one thing and aim for that one thing, it's gonna achieve it so much quicker. But you've got to be clear on what it is, and then you've got to be all in, committed to it. Because if you start going, I'm kind of, you know, 90% in, you're toe dipping, you're not all in, they're the results you're going to reflect in it. And you're looking at other, you know, if you've got the plan B and C and all of that, it's not clear on you, it's not clear for your unconscious mind, it's not clear for you, and you're toe dip and you won't get the same achievement. So
then you say, it doesn't work, nothing works, doesn't work.
Exactly. Yeah. When you're like kind of all in, which is why, like, you know, it's that saying, like, burn the boats, burn the bridges, because it's like when you have to do it, you do. Like what part of my story, like I had my son when I was 20 while I was at university, and everyone was just like, you're crazy, because I got pregnant in between my kind of second and third year. It was crazy. Well, I had him between my second and third year. Everyone's like, you're crazy to have him and all that. And I was just like you know, you're gonna have to quit your degree, you're gonna have to. It's just like, well, no, like, and I was all in. I've got my degree, I've got my son, I'm doing both. There was no other option for me. Other people, you know what I mean? So it was like, so it happened. Still got my 2-1 degree, still completed it, because there was no option. That's what I was going to do. Like, I did.
A mum.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But so it's like, it is about that kind of commitment. When there is no other options, when you're committed, like, this is going to happen, I'm going to do it, and I can do it, then you do make it happen.
And I think that is, you know, it's bigger than obviously the paragraph we gave it, because that's connected to so many other things, isn't it? Like your purpose, your mission, your determination that you had. All of that would be rooted in what's important to you, which is ultimately like your values and why it was important to finish your degree and be a mum at the same time. And that's led you to be able to achieve a lot. And it's similar with me when I had my daughter. I mean, I was a lot older than that, but I was like slightly old. Well, they'd probably call me geriatric mum. I was 35 when I had her. But I was in the middle of a corporate career, all of that. And, I knew I wanted to get out of that and do something different for my daughter. And I've done that for the last 12 years now. So when anyone says, oh, I can't do it because, I've got my child and I'm doing this and it's really hard, I'm on my own and blah, blah, blah. I kind of look and go, I don't think that's what it's about at all, really. You can do as much or as little as you wish. And just because I've done it doesn't mean you can do it, but it does mean it can be done. So what do we
got to want it enough, right?
Yes.
That's the thing, because if you don't want it enough, you'll look for excuses, So
they're everywhere, right? We can just pick them up all over the place. We have all our excuses. And so learning to listen to your own story is a really important thing. That commitment check. So let's say we're 100% in, we're all in, Kirsty. What else do we need?
This leads to the next thing. So part of what I based the article on was I actually spoke to lots of very highly successful entrepreneurs as well, right? I looked at kind of what they did and saw the patterns that they did, which exhibit in myself and my clients that did well as well. So all related, which was great. But every single one of them, after they committed, they all had something to keep them accountable. So it's about having skin in the game. So like you say, it's like when you declare it, like when you say, I am leaving my job, I am having my business, and you tell people and you commit to that, and then you put your money where your mouth is, right? You invest in the business, that you invest in what it is that you say you're going to do, right? That made a massive amount of difference. Every single person committed by getting a mentor, investing, making a financial investment, doing something that meant there was no way kind of out. Well, there was a way out of it, but it meant that
it's not going to be pretty though, is it?
Exactly. It was they could have if they really wanted to, but it was a high investment level, so high level of accountability. And accountability is so important. I think we can't discredit accountability in itself, because we've had accountability from a very young age, right? We grow up and we have our parents keeping us accountable for what we need to do, and we go into a job and we have a manager and we have
to learned behavior, isn't it?
We have a set time we need to arrive, leave, things we need to do, and suddenly when you start a business, a lot of that level of accountability is kind of out of it, and it's all on your shoulders, and that's a very hard thing, because we never really have that before we start a business. So if you want to keep progressing in business, you need to bring that accountability, those deadlines back. And the best way I found, most of us, and that's why we're coaches, is through coaching and mentorship and masterminds and being around other people that are doing the same thing, that can hold you accountable for that, and to kind of any areas of you don't have the knowledge in yet because you haven't done it, you only know what you know, they can fill in for you. So that helps you create a breakthrough in business and get to the next level, because it's filling in that knowledge, but also that high level accountability that is going to actually make you push through and do it, especially when you actually invest in it.
And it's true, it's very interesting that, because there can come a point as well, it's like anything with balance, where accountability can then, some people, become quite frightening. So then you need to adjust it to what's right for them, what will work for them, because what works for one doesn't for another. But certainly I had very interesting conversation went on in another group some time back, and I did get involved in. I try not to sometimes, but sometimes you just can't help it, because it was about accountability, and there was somebody in there saying that it was completely unnecessary, and that anybody that knew what they wanted, right, so they were committed and they knew their values, didn't need accountability, and so that anybody that needed it basically didn't know what they were doing. And it was quite strong, excuse me, clickbaity kind of comment, which obviously set everybody off on a little trail. But it was interesting that sometimes people don't like accountability, so it works and it's good, but it's not always a great feeling, is it? Because
it's interesting you say this, because I've had some clients that they've done so well in such a short space of time, and they're kind of typically the kind of people that don't need accountability, and I'm like that. It was actually said to me by my mentor the other day, you need accountability, but there is something in your energy, something that shifts when you actually invest in someone that can hold you accountable, but not necessarily, you don't actually need it. You actually make that shift in yourself and that commitment, and you know they're there, but actually the action starts within you. You start doing things even before it starts. I've seen it with everyone, like after the mastermind, don't sign up for the mastermind before it's even properly started, because they're like, there's that change in their energy and what they're like kind of like doing. Because I also think, especially with mentorship, like my own in particular, I spent a lot, like tens of thousands on my new mentor, and like it's money that sometimes you'll look at and you go, oh, I don't really have that, I can't really spend that amount. But when you then change that can't into can and do it, and you shift and you create a bit of a breakthrough already, which then you kind of align your next thing and what's possible next to a higher vision of yourself. So I made all of that money back within a month, because I stretched myself to that and became available for that, being the kind of person to spend that kind of money, and to invest in that for the year. So it's interesting. It's like you have that accountability, but
that's the mindset work. So
yeah,
you could almost call it mindset, accountability. You call it what you want. It all roads lead to the same place. But then there's some people that spend a lot of money, and they put it all in, but they don't have any self accountability. And even with the accountability held by the coach, nothing. So therefore the commitment's not there. So it is actually a jigsaw, right? That you have to put all the pieces together
you can't have one
to get that breakthrough. And you've certainly experienced that, like just the example that you just said, which is really, really important. And this leads us lovely onto, well, not lovely really, because it takes us to self-doubt, which is a bit of a pest, right? Because like it starts off here, you said, whenever you go on a new venture, self-doubt will creep in, like it comes with you for the ride, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So it's
you're fighting. It says whenever we try something, to do something new, our body fights against it to keep us safe. It's like body, mind, and soul. The whole thing's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, this isn't what we normally do.
What do you think you're doing out there?
Yeah, exactly. And this is the problem. Okay, like when we like accountability is the word I use for this. There's more steps to this, but keeping it condensed is environment too. So it's the environment you get yourself around. So it's the people. So that adds to accountability. Now, self-doubt also has the same problem, whereas we have our own self-doubts and our own self-sabotages, but we also, the environment that we're in, if we're around people that you're trying to start a business, they've never started a business, they're like, what are you doing? This is risky, this is that. They actually create that self-doubt too. If you've got an unsupportive partner or unsupportive family,
it happens a lot, doesn't it?
So again, they both kind of, accountability, again, they're both kind of linked to environment too. Everything links to environment as far as I'm concerned, but especially like the people you surround yourself with, so they can feed that self-doubt even more. Whereas if you're in a accountability group of people that are doing the same thing, or a mastermind, at least you're going to hear people going, I've done it, see that they've done it, and then your vision expands for what's possible for you. If you're around people who are like, that's not possible, I've not done that, they haven't done it, it kind of shrinks it, because our identity is shaped by those around us too, so they reflect back who we are. So if people are telling it, if we're seeing that in someone else and they're saying, no, you can't do that, that's really hard, then that's actually kind of feeding that limiting belief,
And it's so interesting, Kirsty, because sometimes people actually unconsciously seek that out. So they'll stay in a group of like naysayers and grumblers, and they'll agree with all the negative stuff. Oh, well, you can't do that. You can't get that. You never achieve that. And then people go, no, you can't. That's a load of rubbish. And they sort of, that again is a mindset thing. And people, when they're not ready for that, they like that safety. It's its own thing again. And each time you sort of go to whatever next level in your life, your business, personal development, everything, you'll always find that little well, I have my experience, and always find that little bit just at the end that sort of kicks you in the face and goes, oh yeah, but this is how you used to be, why don't you go back to that? Just as you're about to get there and smash it, and you are pretty much doing that, and then something, and this is kind of the energetic work as well, isn't it? Something then will happen, and you go, a tiny piece can go, oh, it's hard.
Exactly.
Really? And then hopefully it'll pass real quick. It's like, yes, smash it. But sometimes that can really stop people if they don't know what's going on, and they're like, oh, I don't know. It has been quite hard work. I think I might just have a break. And when anyone sort of says, I think I just need a break from it, it's like a big red flag for me, because there's something else going on. But have you ever experienced that, where you're just really stepping up into a new stride, and then suddenly it's something, and it could be something you're not expecting, and it makes you just just for a sec,
exactly. Yeah, it's everyone, everyone will experience that, like the whole self-doubt thing. But the problem is it's being able to like understand the difference between a gut feeling that is kind of getting you on the right track, and then that feeling of that actually is there to kind of protect you, but it's not going to help you get to the next level. It's trying to go between the two things, because I really believe we should always listen to our intuition, right? And often when we have a breakthrough, we have an idea of what we want to do and it keeps coming to us. That's a sign we should be doing it. But at the same time, we get to this point where we're doing it and the self-doubt will kick in because we've never done it, and because it's like programmed into us like it's something new that, it's going to keep us safe. So therefore that's going to happen. You could self-sabotage. You might start feeling ill. You might get unmotivated, start taking less action, just hear those voices in your head. You start looking and noticing your reticular activating system starts seeing all the negatives of like doing this thing in your business, right? Like that can happen. But it's actually going, right, this is normal, and now I need to get my mind back on the thing that I want, right? Because again, it's looking at your higher vision. It's looking at, what do I really want? It's going back to your values.
Self-awareness on a huge level, really, because then you don't believe it. You understand it, you know it, you're aware of what's going on, and, then you can get through it. And that's the beauty of coaching, is this, because coaching, presents people an opportunity to become self-aware and to reflect and all that lovely stuff. So let's say we've smashed self-doubt, right? Nailed that. We nailed that one. Get out. And here you've said, last but definitely not least, this is all about your identity. And like you referred to it earlier when you said, giving myself permission to be that person, and allow myself to believe that I am that person, that will invest that and will make it back and can. And then when you do, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
There is that really exciting, and I've had a couple of those where you sort of like, wow, and then you think, oh my God, why didn't I do this years ago?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
You start getting to those stages, and for anyone in any stage of their business, that's really exciting. So let's talk about identity, who we believe we are. I mean, that's a big subject, but in this context.
Exactly. And again, all the results, everything we do day to day, it comes back down to our identity, who we believe we are, what we believe we're capable of, which I think I put in there, like, about the sentence of like, if you write down, I'm the kind of person who always, that's a great way to start seeing what's limiting you, who do you believe you are, what limitations come up, but also what positive things come up, so you can lean into those more. It's just a great way to start, because we always just act into accordance of who we believe we are. But to achieve something new, we have to be a new version of ourselves, a different version of ourselves. It's really important, and I mentioned, I speak about this in the mastermind day, is that we aren't like one version of ourselves, right? Who you are right now is very different to how you are with your daughter, and how you were in corporate, and how you are with your friends, right? It's like you're the same person, but you have different dimensions to you, they come out. And if you're around someone very negative on something, you'd be a different version to yourself if you're around someone that was really uplifting and positive, right? So we are always shifting and stuff, like, and it's about
momentary, aren't we?
And we all have different roles. We all have completely different roles all the time, like, so it's important to just understand that it's leaning into the role of that successful business person. So whatever that business breakthrough goal looks like for you, and many people it's it's an income level, it's a shift, it's like something tangible, you can see a result. You've got to go, okay, as this person, what do I think? What do I do? What are the actions I take? Like, you have to kind of lean into that version of you. And again, that will shift and change when you go to the next level and the next level. How I was as a one-on-one coach in a one-on-one coach business to how my business is now, where I mainly work with groups, it's different. Obviously, I'm still the same kind of coach, and my coaching's developed because I'm always, investing in that and improving on that. But my business model is very different business model, very different day to day, different activities I have to do. I have to get into that mindset of some like that version of me, right? So same when you start charging higher prices, and how, like, you have to step into that version of yourself. So you have to look at when you have and again, you do this all the time, identity links in, but you can do this right at the beginning. It's going like, who am I? What kind of person am I? Who do I believe I am, and who do I need to become? What things do I need to do different?
And that again is the beauty of coaching, because when you work with somebody as a coach, they will help you to see that, because that is a lot of work to do on one's own. And I mean, I had some coaching literally just the other day, and the coach that was helping me through one specific thing, asked me the same question 3 times. Okay. And that's a really powerful thing to do. And it wasn't, of course, in an annoying way. But what was really interesting about that is that I hadn't answered the question the first 2 times, which is why it came. You know, and then it opened up the reflection to me when I became aware of that, because I remember thinking, asking me again, when I thought I'd answered the question, but I hadn't really answered it, and I hadn't answered it deeply within myself, and that's still staying with me now. So like, coaching has after effects, people. It's not just in the session, it's not just in the room, it's not just in the mastermind, it is literally for life, isn't it? And that's what I think is so powerful about coaching, and what I'm so passionate about people just to simply start to understand if they're new, or still just invest in more, even if they're more seasoned, if you like, because it's just unlimited. We are a fragment of what we could possibly be. I really believe that. And my mindset has certainly shifted on so many levels in the last 2 or 3 years. And when you look back, and sometimes people use the language like, I never thought I could do that. I never believed that I could do that. You know, and that's what you hear, isn't it, when people are going through it, and they're proud, and that's wonderful for a coach to help them to get there. I think that's the reward, really.
And be able to see something, like see your client in their best light. You be able to see them in their best light and reflect that back to them, because then that affects who they are, right? So from both perspectives, whether you're being coached by someone or you are a coach, that's really important in being able, because most of the time people aren't surrounded by coaches or people that can see that in them, or a lot of the time people are reflecting negative stuff, like their own insecurities, right, projecting at other people, so you never really get to see that. So to have a coach see that and reflect that back, that's going to keep enhancing you. Like, for example, yesterday he's not a coach, he's more of a strategist, part of the program I'm in 2 days ago, it was Wednesday. I had to go and go through all my goals, my income goals for the year, what I was going to do. And once I kind of told, like, he saw what I'd made this last month, where my business was, my numbers, he was like, you're shooting too low. Like, I'm like, honestly, I'm really happy with this number. Like, it's a nice, wholesome number. I'm really happy with this. And he was like, you've got to push it more. And he pushed me by another 100,000 to up what I want to make by the end of the year. And he was just like, we're pushing more. We go, because you're capable of it. And he goes, then you only know what you know right now. Once you go through the process, you're going to be in a completely different place. So I was like, okay, we'll do it, whatever. I was like, okay, let's go for it. But again, it's seeing another perspective, it's looking at stuff, it's knowing knowing that experience before me, of like what's going to happen and what's happening
exactly before, and that's really being able to sort of work with someone in that mentoring way to see their potential, and to put it at the right place as well, so it's not a massive overshoot, so then the person being coached doesn't think, oh my god, and really panic. And that's why they've got to be those agreed goals, if you really weren't quite ready, but even he could see it still has to be your agreed goal. And depending on what kind of type you are, I mean, I'm a salesperson, and I always had to perform at the top, and I did. And so when they'd always up it, up. You think, oh my God, you get your targets again, and they would be higher. And you would think at the beginning, oh God, how am I going to do that? It's a big fat number. And then of course, break it down, get it. But if you think about, when I think about how I used to work, it was in a very consistent, systematic, methodical way. They had a system. I knew the system, there was processes behind to support all of that. When you come into your own business, there isn't that. And that's why it's so important to, take what you can. And I think especially I'm quite passionate about early coaches, because they don't have all of that investment at their fingertips at that point. They're trying to make money, learn their skills, get into coaching. But there is so much that is available, even to be in groups like this and like yours, the free communities. I mean, there's a million opt-ins, like take your pick. There's so many coaches offering lots, but you can learn a lot, can't you, at the beginning, and then just do everything when you're ready to invest a bit, and then go. And don't compare. I think that's probably, isn't it, the last thing? And you talked about it earlier in your comments about just breaking through your bit where you are and not looking over there, oh my God, but they broke through.
Be aware of like how you feel when you are comparing, because there's a difference like in your result. If you look at someone and you're inspired by that and you're like, wow, if they did it, I can do it too. And you feel
modeling.
great. To when you see something and it makes you self-doubt yourself or feel not good enough, that's a completely different energy, and that's going to affect how you show up. So you've got to be aware of how you're showing. So instead, if you do see someone, feel really good for them, because that's really going to change your state, and that's going to change your output, you know, and your result because of that. So be conscious of that when you do see it. But that's why it is better to, you know, work with a mentor, someone that's real, someone that's getting those results. You can see that in masterminds where you're really seeing the behind the scenes of the business rather than any of the social media. That's the only problem with the free stuff, is it's edited and it's altered. So you could be comparing and going, oh wow, they've done that, but it doesn't mean that that's true, you know, or that it's one side, you know. And I've seen so much of it, of exaggeration, and how people exaggerate the results that they're getting or what they're doing and what they're sharing, what they're not sharing. It's like this whole 6-figure business thing that you see everywhere, and it's like, but then there are people that 6-figure businesses, very little profit. So, you know, it's, you know what I mean? That they know, you know, they
social media should be regulated, not just the coaching industry, right?
That's never going to happen, really, is it? It's like impossible. Like we were saying yesterday, that someone took my identity, right? Like, you know, online, these things happen. It's very hard to kind of regulate.
So you've got to have a lot of self-regulation. You need the right people around you, and you need to invest incrementally when you can, and at the time that you're ready to commit to doing that, so that you don't actually waste money. Because if you're not ready, and I've experienced this, you know, with people and with myself, if you're not quite ready, but you want to be ready, but then you might spend quite a lot of money doing something, but then because that stretch might not be quite where you're at, it's a stretch too far, and then you're like, oh, it's quite difficult. And so it's not just about spending the money, it's about knowing where you're at. Like you said, I really like that. It's you know, my mindset mentor Cross is in this group, he says always reframe where you're at, because otherwise you just fall out all over the place looking at everybody else. And modeling, as you know, NLP train, modeling is very, very positive. What's this person doing that is good, that I like, that is great? And you take that and then you translate it into yourself and become what you want to become, and make the breakthrough. So it's really, really interesting. I really hope that people get a lot from that, because I'm sure that they will. And you've got a masterclass soon, haven't you, Kirsty?
Next week. So
is that still open? I mean, I'm going to do that.
So it's next Thursday. So the masterclasses are for coaches, or, you know, mainly coaches, but service-based entrepreneurs who want to then start their own first group program. So either your first or your next successful, doing it properly, group program. It's what I've been doing, group programs the last 3 years. Completely transformed my business. And if it's something that you're considering, definitely come to that, because it's going to be full of amazing content, and
I'll be there. I mean, if you want to put the link in, I mean, there's lots of coaches in here. Maybe some more might like to join if you're thinking about doing a program, putting a course together. I mean, just come and experience some of Kirsty and get into the group, and like say another resource, which is like total quality. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome.
And we're going to do a podcast for Coach podcast, which will launch soon, and we'll dig into some other stuff there. But thank you so much for today, and I hope people enjoy. If you've been watching it, we haven't had anyone that's a lot. Well, I think we've had a couple pop on and off, but 1:45 in the afternoon, it's sometimes a bit light on the ground. So later on, if you're watching us on the replay, give us a comment. Any questions for Kirsty, she'll see them and she can come back to you. We hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much, Kirsty. I've really enjoyed it, as always, speaking to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a lovely weekend, won't you?
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.